Yeah, good evening. So I think probably the first time actually I'm talking to you all. Like for those who do not actually know me, I'm Ajith Pasqual from Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering. So yeah, I think you already been briefed on this evaluation criteria, and the purpose of today's session actually is to give you what exactly the expectation is. Expectation is so that that will be your proposal actually will most likely meet the all the criterion for initial shortlisting. Lasita, when is the deadline for submission?
December 10th.
December 10th. Okay. Let me just one moment. Audible? Hello? There was a problem with that. I'm audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, thank you. So as you can actually see these evaluation criterion, so we have given higher marks for few areas. The initial problem identification is a social industry problem related to actually SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and sustainability and climate reference. There is another 15 marks for that one because the entire Spark challenge is meant to support basically sustainable development goals. So we are looking at actually whatever the problems that you select, it has to have some link to SDGs. And then problem and solution validation and innovativeness and practical realizability, all these things are actually given higher marks, 15 marks each. So what I'm actually going to do today is basically explain in basic terms what exactly this criterion is, particularly about the problem identification and the problem and solution validation part, which we will be really looking at very seriously when doing the initial proposal submission evaluation. So let me, that's sufficient. You can actually stop sharing. I'll actually start the presentation.
Yes.
Let's say give me a minute. There's an issue with the screen sharing. Let me sort it out.
Yeah, okay.
Are you able to see the screen? Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir. We can.
Okay. 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 So as I said, the focus will be on this problem identification. So we really want to, like when you're actually coming up with a proposal, I think most probably now since today is 4th, next week is a submission. I'm sure you have already identified the problem to solve. So the intention is just for you to actually verify or basically go back to your problem, the problem that you identified, to see whether actually it fulfills some very basic criterion. So we want to make sure that whatever the problem that you are solving actually is something really beneficial once actually you find the solution. So that's the primary objective of today's session. And as we all know, like problem identification is the starting point for coming up with an innovative solution. So when you say problem, you need to really understand what exactly, why actually it is called a problem in the first place. There are so many problems, right? There's so many problems that you can actually see all around. And if you ask actually any person or like industry or like anyone actually what the problem actually is, some of these problems actually could be very personal, and some of them could be simply some issue localized in the sense only affecting that particular person or maybe just few people, like that. So what we are really looking at is basically identifying a problem that is affecting a segment of, let's say, a larger segment of people, or maybe something actually common. A lot of people actually find the same issue. Issue, and basically recognize that as a problem as such. So somebody who is looking for a solution as well for that problem. And with the problem that you're actually identifying is something that people can live with it. Even if the problem actually is there, if you are actually, if they can actually live without it, then that's not really a problem as such. And the problem that you identified, if it is not something somebody is not actually prepared to pay for the solution, then again, actually, it's not really a problem as such. Because a problem is really something is serious enough for you to actually pay and get the solution as soon as possible. That is the nature of the problem that actually we are looking at it. And these problems are actually not imaginary problems as such. They have to be grounded actually in the real world and attached to the real world as well. So when you find a solution for such a problem, that is where actually we really call innovation. The reason, like innovation is, once you actually find the solution, and if you are able to actually pitch it, and basically when people are prepared to pay for that one, then only your solution actually is it's being used by someone. As long as it's not used, do understand this very important distinction. You can solve hundreds of problems, okay? And at the university, routinely in the examination, you solve so many problems, right? These are paper problems, right? And what you are actually trying to do is basically identifying a real problem in the world, and the solution for that particular problem actually will be important to people who are affected by that problem, and they are willing to pay for that one, and they are going to benefit out of your solution. And when someone else other than you benefits from your solution, and that is actually really innovation as such. And when that someone actually gets multiplied, and they say 100 people actually get benefited, or 1,000 or 1,000,000 people actually get benefited out of your solution, then that is a really disruptive innovation. Right? So do remember, the innovation actually is you can't actually use, you can't actually call it something as innovation unless that innovation is solving a critical problem and is helping someone to basically to sort that issue out. Okay. So the real problem identification actually is what lead to innovation, where because the solution is immediately demanded by people who are really affected by that problem. So you need to go back to your drawing boards and look at the problem that you have already identified and ask the question, am I actually solving a real problem as such? So this is so critical. And we are actually putting it as the highest possible level in the evaluation criterion. And if your problem actually is not a realistic problem, and if you have not, as I will explain like a little bit later, that if you have not actually done the homework in identifying that particular problem, it's very likely that that your proposal actually will not get shortlisted. Okay? So when you identify this problem and then solution is basically what technology, the problem actually is what technology can provide a solution. When I say technology, I mean, since we are actually opening up to this entire university, it means whatever your engineering discipline or whatever discipline that you're actually studying, it could be IT, it could be different fields of engineering or business, all of them can use some sort of a technology to provide the solution. And that solution actually not only will be used locally. If you are solving a right problem, it might actually as well be globally applicable as well. Okay, so both these things need to be kept in mind. So basically, you are saying solution that we provide can be so locally as well as globally. Okay, and when that happens, you can really see that how your solution or your innovation actually is solving the Sri Lankan economy as well, or contributing to the Sri Lankan economy. So once again, starting point is basically for you to really ask the questions. Are we solving a real problem as such? And how do we really find whether this problem is real or not? So that is something that we are going to actually look at it soon. So when we say a problem, how do we identify a problem? I mean, that problem actually could be virtually anything. Any sort of a inconvenience. When I say inconvenience, there are so many things that we feel can be done better, right? Inconvenience basically, maybe it is actually taking too much of time to complete a particular task. Can I actually do this differently? Okay, can we look at this completely differently, and can we design something that cuts short the time? Because you're talking about productivity, or you're talking about efficiency. How soon can we complete the task? And that might actually have significant impact on the overall. Let's say, for example, you're talking about let's say some problem actually at an industry or a factory location. The inefficiencies, or let's say the overall time required to produce something, if you can cut it down, that can actually translate to a lot of economic value for that particular factory owners. Okay? So that is actually, as I said, when I say inconvenience, something that some people are complaining. People are complaining. It could be about a product, or it could be about some productivity, some inefficiencies that they have noted, and they are looking at some sort of a solution. Okay, and then when they're looking at some sort of solution, it's an urgent need for that solution. If there's no urgent need for the solution that you actually for the problem that they are facing, I mean, don't waste your time. Okay? Don't waste your time because if there is no urgency at all, and if they don't basically resonate with the problem that you're actually trying to solve, it's very unlikely that they will actually pay for something. Okay, and I want to really highlight the fact that somebody should be willing to pay for the solution that you are developing. So this could be, as I said, it could be related to a product, or it could be related to a process which you observe where somebody is complaining and somebody is looking at a solution urgently. Okay. So when you're looking at basically an existing product or system, again, there could be some deficiencies, and some of which actually maybe simple, some could be probably very complicated, but something that you can solve. And if you have the confidence that you can actually solve some of these things, then by all means, you should actually go and actually solve that problem. And so again, want to highlight, identify a problem where someone actually is willing to pay for the solution immediately. Okay, and what that means is that you also need to actually do a little bit of additional work to see whether the problem that you're actually solving is applicable to other people as well. And if that is the case, then you're actually on the right path in this particular Spark Challenge proposal submission process. Okay, because you're actually solving a problem that is applicable to many, not just actually one or two. If it is one or two, it's kind of a project, right? A very specific project that you're solving one specific aspect, very localized problem. Okay, you will get some money, you will get paid, but not really the type of product, a type of actual proposal that we're expecting. We're expecting something that the solution actually can benefit, let's say maybe like a lot of people. I mean, maybe not only Sri Lanka, but globally as well. So I'm actually going to like show you two examples, which obviously one of these example might not actually really fit into this a proposal as such, but something that highlight the importance of an inconvenience. Now, this is a very simple, recently example that I actually saw. This is about English because I think English is important for everybody, right? I'm sure that a lot of you might have actually heard about this particular app. And this is a non-native English speaker, okay? Non-native English speaker, where he had actually problem like in improving his own English pronunciation and his speaking skills, basically spoken English, because being a non-native speaker, he was trying to improve on his own. So to help himself to speak better,
Recording
he
stopped.
actually he created this a mobile app called Fluently. Okay, and the idea is basically
Recording in progress.
how do I actually improve my speaking my spoken English? How can I speak English better? When he has developed this app, then once actually start giving the results, meaning that he felt that actually it is improving his own English, he actually started actually showing that to others as well. And as we all know, like English is not the most spoken language in the world as such. Okay, like there are a lot of other languages in the world, and there are so many billions of people. For them, English actually is non-native. Okay, so you can find that if one person who is non-native speaker is developing an app that help that person to basically speak English fluently, then obviously that's a kind of inconvenience that he is solving for himself, but that is applicable to billions of others. Okay, and the results are quite evident within 2 years. Okay, within 2 years, that particular app is generating USD $6 million as annual recurrent revenue. That every year, last 2 years, this app actually has generated $6 million each. Okay, so you can see a simple problem, very simple problem. Okay, that I'm sure that pretty much resonate with everyone actually who is a non-native speaker. Okay, so this is basically inconvenience. Okay, inconvenience that actually you will find in so many places. So you have to basically actually pick that opportunity. I mean, identify that particular opportunity and actually try to make use of that opportunity as well. Similar one, again, basically just to highlight what I meant by this inconvenience. So because not for you not to ignore such observations. Because one of the very important aspect in problem identification is for you to improve your observation abilities. Okay, and basically look around and basically see what problems are there. Listen to other people and listen to other people very carefully and see what they're talking about. And is it something that actually that would present an opportunity as something sellable? So this again, again an inconvenience as such. About some of you already know this. This is a doorbell, right? A doorbell actually, every house actually has a bell, just to make the occupants of the house aware that some visitor is there. Okay, so it's a very convenient like a small innovation. I mean, I wouldn't call it really innovation as such, but simple thing to basically to make people aware that okay, somebody is there at the door. Now, where is the inconvenience in this? So doorbell actually is a very convenient part, because if someone actually someone goes to house and door is closed, no one is to be seen, then you will actually push the button to basically and that will ring. So anyone actually inside actually will hear that, okay, and will come and open the door. So where is the inconvenience? So this particular person actually in US had the doorbell, but actually most of the time actually he's in the backyard of his house. And when somebody actually rings the bell, he has to come all the way to the front door to see who that person actually is, who is actually ringing this bell. Okay? And he found that inconvenient. And coming all the way to the front door from the backyard. Okay? whenever he actually is working in the backyard, he actually has to come around basically to see who that person actually is. And that inconvenience led him to basically develop a mobile app, okay, which a mobile app basically and with a small device that actually today you will see that in many places as well, that will stream from that camera, like in the device, will stream directly into that mobile. Okay, and that is the story of this particular company called Ring. Okay, he named it Ring Doorbell. Okay, Ring Doorbell. And when he developed this, he found to his amazement, like so many other people actually had the same inconvenience, not just him. Okay? It's not something that you want to basically actually really pay for it in the sense, but it resonates. Like it's something that everybody actually is. I mean, it's kind of nice to have a solution, but it's really nice. Like when somebody actually rings a bell, your mobile actually pops up and actually streams. That's a convenience part there. Okay, and the end result, that particular company he formed called Ring actually was acquired by Amazon for USD 1 billion. That's 1,000 million US dollars. Okay, so you can see a very simple idea. Okay, very simple idea, and not something a burning problem as such. Okay, not a burning problem as such, but a problem that actually has resonated with so many other people. Very simple inconvenience. Okay, something that you don't like to do, and you want to automate something. Okay, so that's actually what happened. What has happened in this Ring Doorbell. Okay, Ring Doorbell. So again, the whole idea behind this, why I'm highlighting all these things, is to give you the impression. The observations are very critical. Okay, and sometimes you can actually get surprised how a particular problem actually might resonate with others as well, if you talk about, because I remember today ideas are very cheap. Okay, ideas are very cheap because there's absolutely nothing you can gain by talking about ideas only. Okay, and you want to actually convert that idea to something realistic, something that you can demonstrate and basically show to someone else. And when you demonstrate something, okay, and when somebody sees what you actually have done, then the conviction actually is there. Okay, this is something working, or this actually might work. So this is again simple inconvenience. Somebody has basically just developed a small device, an app that actually has found a lot of people actually having the same inconvenience as such. As I said, it's not a burning problem as such, but inconvenience that people are willing to pay. Okay, people are willing to pay. And few other examples, pardon me for these, pretty much related to electronics, but these are very common example that you should be able to actually identify the reason for that one. Okay, again showing some innovative products. This is basically a very simple one. A small device, you can say something like a wall clock, where you can just plug into the wall, which shows few parameters: temperature, humidity, and carbon monoxide. Okay, so these three parameters are basically shown. Like this is in US, like in winter, because of a heating arrangement, there could be carbon monoxide actually within the house, and temperature and humidity actually is there. And you can see it's a very nice design. Okay, it's a very nice design. Actually, in fact, this particular design actually was done by a designer who was with Apple. Okay, with Apple for a long time, and he left Apple and then basically came up with this particular very simple but nice looking small device which you can plug into your wall. I mean, it can be plugged into any room in your wall. Maybe you will have five of these, or four of these, or at least 2-3 of these in your house. Okay, and each one actually is connected to the internet, and it shows you the temperature, the carbon monoxide level, and the humidity, and all those the information. Very simple one. Okay, and Google found this very attractive because it's an internet connected small device. And it basically shows, like, for example, just think a little bit carefully. If you have basically like 4 rooms in your house, like in a country where there is like 4 seasons, okay, particularly maybe harsh winters, you can see the real temperature, humidity, and all those things that are available a very clear indication of the energy usage of that particular house and how you basically use your AC, how you basically use your heating system. All those things are information can be captured by with this very simple device. And Google found it actually so attractive because they have a much bigger, like a holistic picture where they were trying to actually use this information. They like paid few $1 billion to purchase this company called Nest. Okay, a very simple device. Okay, very simple device. It's a thermostat, smoke detector. It's a smoke detector also. Okay, smoke detector as well, and a carbon monoxide sensor. And this I will actually not really talk about, but this is basically a small a device placed like in the foot of a baby to detect oxygen saturation. Okay, oxygen saturation, when you have breathing problems. Okay, when you have breathing problems, the oxygen saturation level in your blood actually goes down. Okay, goes down. Typically, it is at above 95, 96, 99, 100. But when the oxygen saturation actually is low, or when you're breathing is difficult. I mean, anyone who remembers COVID time, there were in the market like small pulse oximeters, which you can actually put it in your finger and observe your blood oxygen level. Okay, and if that level actually is low, it means some sort of a breathing problem. And for small infants, okay, they accidentally, or because they are rolling all the time, it's quite possible that they might be sleeping face down. Okay, face down. And if the face down actually is to a pillow, there's a very likelihood of basically suffocation. Okay, that the infant actually might die simply because it's not able to breathe. Okay, and this is called SIDS, like sudden infant syndrome death or something like that in medical terms. So to detect this, okay, to detect this, the company actually came out with this small sock, which has the pulse oximeter features, which gives you the oxygen saturation level, and it's called Owlet. Okay, this again is basically again remember something somebody has seen a need. So Google bought this Nest Labs for $3.2 billion about 10 years back. Okay, and you can see again very simple idea. But these are things that some bigger companies actually might find actually very useful. So when today basically like a lot of people actually use AI tools. So you might be actually looking for maybe some of the problems might be actually asking. I mean, no harm in asking any AI tool. Give me a list of problems that people are looking for solutions. Okay, but do remember like there are cultural differences. Okay, so what works actually in the West actually might not work here. Okay, and what works here might not work in the US. But what works here might work in about 2/3 of the places in the world. Okay, so that's why I said, like, whatever the problem that you have identified, if that problem actually is applicable, that could be applicable to more than 2/3 of the world. Okay, so do remember, like, it might be a simple problem that you're trying to solve, but it might be globally applicable. Okay, so when you're coming up with a problem as well, to analyze the problem, do remember, like we are not expecting you to do a very superficial type of a problem analysis as such. We do expect very thorough review of the problem from all possible angles. So that is an in-depth analysis of the problem actually really important. Now, how do we do that? I'll actually talk about that one in in the next slide. So a problem always actually is like in particular environment, right? In particular environment. So it's very important that you first try to understand that particular environment. And I think you have probably you know the meaning of the term empathy, right? Empathy is basically when somebody is basically saying, okay, I have this problem. There's a tendency among engineers, particularly engineers, not only engineers, but people who are supposed to be what we call educated. Okay, and when you hear someone says, okay, I have a problem, sometimes actually you say basically, yeah, I understand your problem. Okay. Sometimes you go ahead and basically say, yeah, I understand the problem better than you. Okay. So that is remember, it's a very stupid statement, right? Unless you have gone through the same problem, okay, unless you have gone through the same problem, there is absolutely no way that you know about the problem better than someone else who is going through that problem. So the most important part actually is for you to empathize, basically for you to basically get into the shoes of that particular person and try to understand the problem in depth. Okay? Not a superficial analysis saying that, okay, what you see from the outside might not actually give you the full 360-degree view or all the possible angles of that particular problem as such. And when you do a superficial analysis, remember, like your solution will be superficial as well. Okay. And that always happens. Okay. So the solution or for example, the validity of your solution actually can improve only when you tackle that problem actually in its full scope. Okay. So do remember, get to know the environment and get to the shoes of the person who are actually having that problem and try to understand the problem from their perspectives as such, and not from not your imaginary world as such. Okay? And as I said, the user perspective is something extremely important. As I said, if you have not experienced that problem, and if you're just listening to that problem as such, and if you say that you can understand the problem better than the person who is really experiencing that problem, that's not a very good statement. Okay. And you need to basically really get to the bottom of that problem by really going doing a lot of work to understand the problem better. And in that particular case, it's extremely important that you learn to listen, okay, to the people who are actually explaining the problem to you, okay, rather than talk. I mean, obviously, talking is required, but sparingly asking the right questions, okay, asking the right questions so you can actually get more and more detail about that particular problem, okay, and without the patience to listen carefully, you will not be able to actually understand the problem in its full depth. Okay, so that's something that you need to really keep in mind. Then the problems that you actually that you can identify, I mean, anywhere in the world, any problem can be broken down to actually two parts, like a well-defined problem. I mean, for example, specification, like things like a product that you already see in the market is a well-defined problem, right? But it might have some defects. It might have some deficiencies. Okay, might have some deficiencies. So people are looking for a improvement for a product. Okay, so any product that you can actually see in the market today will have some deficiency. Like some people actually might not like it for various reasons. And when you say not likely, when you're not like about certain features, and you have to ask the question, I mean, are they willing to pay for those features if you add them? Okay? If you introduce a new product with those additional features, will the differentiation be high enough for somebody to pay for that one? So as I said, if no one actually is willing to pay for that solution, remember, it's a useless problem. Okay. But when I say well-defined problem, a well-defined problem is something that you can actually easily see, and the problem actually is very clear. While certain other cases, you will find that problems are undefined, like somebody is complaining and somebody is complaining about a problem, and where there is no suitable solution anywhere in the world. There is no reference. Okay, there is no reference. In that type of situation, you're actually coming up with a solution to a problem that has not been seen elsewhere. I mean, problem has been seen elsewhere, but there has not been a solution as such. Okay? So these could be these are two different type of problems. So in the first case, it is very difficult to convince somebody because product is already there, reference is already there, and people are talking about deficiency. Something that they don't like. Let's say the efficiency of the product actually might not be good. I mean, there could be a lot of things like the usability, ergonomics, all those things actually can be problems with products. Okay, so people are looking for a better product, for example. And undefined problem, on the other hand, you have the burden of explaining to someone, okay, this is the problem that you are telling me, And the solution that we are proposing actually is also need to be acceptable to that particular person as well. Okay. And because there is nothing in the market that you can actually go and buy to solve that problem as such. Okay. So it's a what we call undefined like problem where you need to actually like define the scope of the problem, or basically what you call formulate the problem definition as well. Okay. So in at least if you look at the economic impact of the possible solutions, you might actually find these undefined problems actually might give you like much bigger returns. Okay, but there's a lot of question marks in that one because you don't really know like how many problems have been, how many like people are having that problem. Now, when you say undefined, like the ring doorbell, okay, is not a burning problem, right? It's not a burning problem, but a product that resonated with so many people. Okay, because it is something common observation by many. I mean, having that is a nice thing to do, nice thing to have. Having that product is nice to have. Okay, so people are willing to pay for something like that as well. Okay, so there was no reference in the outside world, and so that's something that you might want to look at. And well defined actually can be any product that you see. I mean, just want to like again give a simple example, to highlight what I really meant by a well-defined problem. Like I mean, two examples that I actually always take, like automobiles. And if you take automobile market, there are so many brands, right? So many brands. And if you look at the evolution of the automobile market, historically, starting from in Europe, from Mercedes-Benz, and then actually going to US for like, for example, like General Motors, Chrysler, Ford, all these like big players were dominant in 19 like let's say early like let's say just after the World War or before the World War One. And when the Japanese brand Toyota actually came up, and then from Germany again another brand came up called Volkswagen. Okay, and when they introduced these two vehicles, there's already a market dominated by German, like Mercedes-Benz, BMW, might be there or not, I can't remember exactly, but then the three bigger like players in the US market, they've been dominant. So already existing product, okay, that's automobile, a vehicle, okay. So do we basically, is there an opportunity for a new player as such? And the Japanese brand like a Toyota and a German brand Volkswagen. Okay, so if those two owners of the Volkswagen and Toyota basically thought, okay, there are already very well established brands out there, and I won't be able to compete with them, then we will not see Toyota today. We'll not see Volkswagen today. Okay, and these two brands today are the number one and number two like automakers in the world. Okay, so you can see basically there can be existing products. Okay, but a new product can come with a different focus. For example, Toyota came up with basically a reliable car, a reliable motor vehicle that actually needs very low maintenance. Okay, very low maintenance, a reliable car that will not really break down as such often. The other one, Volkswagen, actually wants to actually come up with an affordable car. Okay, affordable car, we call people's car. Okay, so both these themes actually again resonated with lot of people. So people want to actually buy a product that is reliable. Okay, where I mean, not actually break down every time I actually use it. And also people want to actually have a vehicle or a product that is affordable. Okay, that is cost effective. Okay, so all those things are basically differentiating factors. Okay, differentiating factors, and those two are been extremely good differentiators. You can see like these two companies are world number 1 and 2 today. Okay, so just to highlight the fact that there can be existing product in the market, but that should not prevent anyone from coming up with an alternate product, okay, a better product, okay, with a better focus. Just like, for example, you have a Tesla in the electric vehicle market. Now BYD actually is there. Okay, BYD is competing directly head on with Tesla. Okay, so I mean they can always compete. Okay, so these are well defined one, but you have to find some kind of a a difference between different products. So I'm actually not talking about solving basically building an automobile right now, but the problem that you identify broadly are falling into these two categories. Okay, and so then we look at probably the two most important things as far as the proposal submission actually is concerned. Like, how do you really know that you are solving a real problem as such? Okay, and this is actually what we refer to as a problem validation, what you call product idea validation. Okay, and are you solving a real problem? And you have to ask yourself, are we solving a real problem as such? And is it a problem that is like really affecting so many people? And this particular statement, is the impact due to lack of solution significant? Like I said, can be thousands of problems, but many people are willing to actually live with those problems even without a solution. Actually, is fine. I mean, though addressing those problems is actually useless. Okay, is nothing you can actually gain by addressing a problem which no one actually is willing to pay. Okay, so the key part actually that you have to ask is the solution important as such? Can someone live without a solution? Okay? So if you are basically found the right problem, then the validation actually is all about asking, are we really building the right product as such? Okay, otherwise, you'll be building a product for imaginary like a problem. Okay? No one is really willing to actually have that because that's an imaginary problem. I mean, solution will also basically be of no use to anyone. Okay, so ask the questions: are we really building the right product as such? And how do we do that? I mean, there's no point actually asking yourself, right? You need to basically ask the people who are really affected by the problem. Okay, and don't assume anything. So you need to basically go and talk to, as I said, go to the people who are affected by the problem and listen to them. Ask the right questions and try to actually get as much information as possible to understand exactly what the problem is all about. And once you understand the problem from all different angles, then you will be actually in a better position to come up with a solid solution. Okay. So basically, the important of this one actually is, remember, you need to actually understand whether the solution actually is needed or not. And if people can live without a solution, then don't waste your time. Okay. So remember, your communication skills in all three languages are pretty important at this particular point of time, because without asking questions from the people who are having that problem, you will not be able to actually get an in-depth idea of the problem. As I said, don't assume things. Don't believe everything that you see like given by ChatGPT or like the internet. Ask the people. Okay, ask people what exactly they are feeling about that particular problem. Okay, so if you don't do that, if you don't do what we call the validation, if you don't actually go to prospective customers, who are the customers? Customers are people who are really having that problem, and you want to actually give that solution to those people, and those people should be willing to buy that solution from you. Okay, and if that is not the case, don't like submit anything to this challenge, because that's a useless like thing to do. Okay, so prospective customers need to validate this idea. Okay, remember that it's not imaginary like problem as such. So you need to do surveys, basically draft the questions very carefully, and try to actually evaluate this problem from all possible angles. And also do remember, this is actually not really a validation as such. The problem itself can be very complex, but the solution need not be complex as such. Remember, technicality of, I'm not talking about the technical part of this. Technical part of the solution can be, will be complex in any case. But when somebody actually uses a product, that product, usability of that product should be very simple. Okay. I mean, you should not actually need like a 1,000-page a manual to operate your product as such. Product should be very simple to use. Okay, so do remember that one. So that's a different actually matter. But the most important one actually is idea validation part, or what we call problem validation. Okay, problem validation. And without validating problem, don't even think of basically submitting a proposal, because that will be really useless. Okay, and you're not going to go anywhere if you do not have the right feedback from the prospective customers. I'm actually repeatedly using this term prospective customers, because you're solving a problem And that innovation actually is not an innovation unless somebody is not using it or not willing to pay for that solution. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that's your validated problem right now, right? The problem validation is the most important part because that's a starting point. But so you're asking the question actually, as I said, like this, why do people think actually there's a problem as such? So you need to actually get the answers from people like by asking the right questions. Okay. So if you can answer why you are developing this, what is the reason for that? Okay, then you will be on the right on the right path. Then, so once you understand, or once you actually confident that you are really solving a real problem as such, okay, then there can be hundreds of solutions for that problem. We all know, like in examination paper, okay, 99% of the time, there is one solution required, or one solution actually is there, one. So you can actually get you can get 100% the marks if you actually give that answer. Okay? So we are talking about not examination questions as such, or not examination problems as such. We are talking about real world problems. And real world problems actually have so many angles, so many assumptions are there. Okay? And there can be so many solutions for the same problem. And those solutions can differ from maybe from the cost perspective, from complexity perspective. Okay, I mean, so many different ways the solution can be different. So, but you need to ask the people like who are affected by the problem that whether your solution that you are thinking is acceptable to them also. So there is a two-stage process. Okay, you first need to basically identify a problem by talking to the people who are affected by that problem. And once you come up with a very quick solution, at least some kind of a prototype or some, I mean, even a paper-based solution, like in a drawing, I mean, you can show them a drawing and this is actually a solution that we are thinking of. You need to ask the people, like, is this the solution that you're expecting? Okay. Remember, as I said, for a given real world problem, there can be so many solutions. And that solution that you are proposing should also be acceptable to the people as well. And if you come up with a solution and say, okay, that cost, let's say, for example, let's say 50,000 rupees, and if that person actually can only pay 10,000, okay, then your solution is again useless. Okay, because that person actually is expecting a very cost efficient or cost effective solution. Okay. And if the solution is expensive, then obviously there is no point. Okay, there is no point actually for that particular solution. So the first test actually is to see whether the solution that you're coming up with is acceptable to the customers. So that's that you have to meet the prospective customers at least two times. At least two times. Okay, at least two times, so that you know what you're building actually is really useful to them or not. Okay, so once you basically show to the prospective customer, okay, this is the solution, then there are some other parameters that you need to really be mindful about. What is number one actually is what will be the cost of that one, or really the cost to you, and what will be the cost to the customer, like how much that person need to pay to buy your solution. Okay, that's a budget. Everybody actually has a budget. I mean, not infinite budget as such. Okay, so if somebody is having a problem, somebody should be willing to pay certain X amount for that particular solution. Okay, so what is that? What is that X? Okay, how much somebody is willing to pay. The other one actually is somebody need to wait until the solution actually is found. How much time will people? How long will people be willing to wait for your solution? And these two are extremely important. Okay, you can't actually just say, okay, I'll come up with a solution, but if it takes 2 years to develop that one, that problem actually might no longer be there, or problems that importance might no longer be there, and the person actually who has requested this solution might not actually want that by that time. Okay, so you want to basically ask the questions, if the solution that you are developing actually is the right solution, again, basically customer gives you feedback, okay, this is okay, go ahead, but then, and don't forget to basically ask, or don't forget to basically like do some estimation and see, okay, this is the cost to you. This is how much you need to pay for that particular product or service. And this is how much time that you have to wait, how long you have to wait basically for that solution to come. If these two are satisfactory, then people will be actually willing to pay for your solution, and basically will wait for the solution until you come up with the proper one. So remember, the customer actually might have so many other things. These are, other than these two, there could be a lot of other related like parameters, maybe weight, power consumption. I mean, whatever the products. I mean, other constraints that people actually might put attach a higher importance. So please do think about those as well. The cost and the time is two critical aspects. Okay, two critical aspects. How soon can I get a solution, or how expensive will the solution be? So once you understand the problem, is real, and the solution actually is much needed. But again, as I said, solution need to be acceptable to the prospective customer as well. Okay, so these two need to be validated, meaning the problem need to be validated and the solution to be validated. Okay, so do understand these two. If your proposal do not have those two like treated in depth, we will be actually rejecting your application. Okay, proposal as such. Okay, and it will not get shortlisted. Okay, problem need to be validated and solution need to be validated as well. Okay, so do keep that in mind. And this time we are actually expecting a real prototype for the once you actually are shortlisted, you will be actually given like certain guidelines, and also actually Raspberry Pi for shortlisted group. Like what we need to do at the end of this particular Spark is to have a demonstrable product. Okay, not just a paper solution, but a demonstrable product. Okay, a prototype, some prototype that you can actually demonstrate. So when we really look at it, I just want to actually end this with introducing a new term, which might be new to many people here. When you are actually building something, a product, and that ultimately goes to the market as a product that you can actually go to the shop and actually buy, something like that. And in the development process, where you are is basically represented by something called technology readiness level. This is actually originally developed at NASA. And the Spark Challenge, we expect the TRL level to be something like level 4 or 5. Okay? Level 4 or 5 actually is something acceptable. And what these levels are, like you can basically see these 9 different levels. Okay, the basic principles are basic. For example, like a problem has been identified and you are formulating a concept. This is level 2. An experimental proof of concept, which is actually maybe a very simple solution, which may be like depending on your field, you will come up with a very simple solution, something that you can actually cross-check whether it works or not. And level 4 is technology validated in the lab, is a prototype that you are developed, and it basically shows the solution very clearly. Okay, and 5 is basically technology validated in the relevant environment. Basically, you go and actually talk to the customer and show it to the customer. Okay, in his own environment, it can be shown to work. Okay, but not 100% as such. Okay, they're validated. You basically go there and talk with the customer and show that whether it works or not. That is level 4, 5. So we expect basically to be at least up to level 5 in the Spark Challenge. Okay, so this is the other levels are basically like, I mean, if you can go to other levels, it's really good, but the time will most likely not be sufficient as such. But it's quite possible that you might come to level 6 as well. 7, 8, 9 actually will take a lot of time. Okay, will take a lot of time. So our expectation is that you develop this prototype and test it not just actually with you, but you can go and actually talk to people and show to the people who are affected by the problem. Okay, this is the solution that we have developed, and basically let them try that and see whether it works or not. Okay, so this is actually once the proposal is accepted. Okay, but more importantly, we'll be looking at these two things: problem validation, what we call product idea validation, and the solution validation. Okay? So please do pay attention to this very important task, these two aspects, because without these two, the proposal is very likely to be rejected, or basically will not actually get shortlisted. Okay. So with that, I want to basically stop for today, and if there are any questions, if any thing that you want to clarify, I think is the right time now. Basically, you can ask anything. So you have 6 more days to basically do the submission. So if these 2 things are already done, I think that will be really good. But if not, 6 more days are there for you to really go and talk to people who are affected by the problem that you're actually trying to solve, and also about the solution validation as well. Okay, so do remember, because this is still proposal submission stage. The solution that you're coming up with is basically, obviously it can be a paper solution only. Okay, maybe somebody actually maybe already developed a simple prototype. Then it will be really great. But even a paper solution is fine. I'm basically need to explain to the customer, okay, this is the solution that I'm actually giving, and whether that solution will be acceptable to the customer is something that you want to really check with them. Okay, that is solution validation.
Thank you for that insightful session, Ajith Pasqual, and thank you everyone for joining this session.